Today I'll be talking about our systematic storytelling approach for research evidence dissemination. Storytelling is an art as old as time, and it has been used in different contexts for different purposes: to educate, to entertain, to pass on cultural values from one generation to the other. So I would want to think in one way or the other we are acquainted to storytelling. Storytelling comes in different forms, like in the forms of poems, dance, songs, drama, you can name the rest. Despite the ever-growing body of research evidence, the evidence ecosystem is still facing the problem of evidence-to-practice gap. And these challenges could be associated to the complexity of research evidence terminology, the language in which research evidence is made accessible, and the limited access of research evidence. It is equally important to talk about the dynamicity of the different targeted population. We understand that a lot of people who are actually in need of the research evidence are non-digital citizens. They are non-literate citizens. They are non-scientific savvies. They are equally people living in resource-constrained areas with limited access or no access at all to different forms of medias to actually access the research evidence. At this point, I would like to quote one of my favorite quotes from Joseph Campbell, where he said, "People easily forget facts, but they remember stories." I am very excited to say at eBASE we have been able to develop our storytelling approach into a systematic approach of 7 different steps, where we have the identification of the problem, we have the diagnosis of the community, we have the search of the evidence, we have the development of evidence statements, we have the collaboration between the researchers and storytellers to be able to bring up evidence-based stories, and we have the storytelling session itself. And then we have the evaluation of the storytelling on the targeted population to see if there was actually an improvement in knowledge, an improvement in intention, and also an improvement of behavior. What is the added value of storytelling to the scientific approach of communicating through forest plots, graphs, tables, figures, statistics, which is sometimes even complex for the scientists themselves? So the added value of storytelling is that storytelling is able to bridge the complexity of the research evidence terminology, because stories communicate in a more digestible form. Through stories, you can actually communicate in different languages. Stories actually has an impact on the emotions of the listeners. And equally, it is very useful for behavior change in that the audience easily identify themselves in the life of the characters on stage. Our storytelling approach has been used in different communities and to communicate stories around different topics such as sexual and gender-based violence, COVID-19, menstrual hygiene management, education, and many more, of course, our population is made up not just of scientists who have the ability to understand the research evidence that is being brought out. We equally have non-scientific service, we have non-digital literate community members who might not have the capacity to access the internet to get some scientific research. We equally have non-literate communities who can't even read nor write. Storytelling has the possibility to bring research evidence to everybody, regardless of their background. At this point, I would like to say we are very grateful for our collaboration with our key collaborators who in one way or the others have provided support either financially or maybe through the access of the resources that we have been able to use in order to implement our storytelling approach. I would want to think of the French Embassy, I would want to think of Grand Challenges Canada, I want to think of Cochrane, Campbell, the African Center for Evidence.